So I'm going to plot this circle graph. When you're dealing, you'll notice that we had two square root functions. Actually, it can be written as one whole expression. And the expression is that it's x squared plus y squared is equal to 1. This is the command to make a circle. And this, which is referred to r squared, where r is the radius of the circle. So in this instance, this is a circle or an attempted circle which has a radius of 1. It's also called the unit circle, which has lots of, it's related to trigonometry, and there's lots of fun facts about how the unit circle, you can find particular y values using sine and cos. It's all very exciting. But nonetheless, what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you that to sketch circle graphs, there's just a couple of rules that you'll need to go by, and also all I would recommend when sketching them is know full well that they will never be perfect. They will kind of look like lemons that have been melted in the sun. Who would have got? So what I would suggest in order to avoid melted ice cream graphs is to actually draw the circle first, then put the axes in later. So, the last lesson with the last topic with hyperbolas, we were moving the asymptotes around. With circles, you're moving the center point of the circle around. So, when it says x minus 1, that is moving to the right by 1. X minus 2. Now, this is the only time the circles gets a little bit weird, because remember how when things are in brackets, they do the opposite of what you think they should be? Similarly with the brackets here. This is actually moving up by 2. This is moving up there. Similarly, this is moving to the left by 4, and this is moving down by 3. So that's actually telling you where the middle of the circle is. So the middle of the circle of this graph on the left is going to be at the coordinates, so I'm going to write middle of circle. 1, 2. This one, the middle, will be at -4, -3. Now, here's a thought. What do you think the radius of the circle on the left will be? 5, yep. So the radius is 5. Yeah, the radius of this one will be 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I sketch these graphs in just a moment. Not a very scientific way, I will grant you, but I tend to draw the pretty picture first, and then I try to put my axes in later. So I'm going to attempt, ladies and or gentlemen, I'm going to attempt to draw very pretty circles. Yes! I know. You know that thing you had to buy in year 7? You've never used it? Now's your chance.
I used it for pretty personally. Everyone used it for stabbing somebody.
Classic you.
Oh, I can't. I don't have a compass. I do have a compass. Whoa. Wait, watch this. Whoa. It's like that. It's like a SpongeBob episode where he like.
Oh, that's a pretty damn good circle.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad it is both damn and good. Okay. Now, so this is how I go about putting all the bits and bobs in. I look at where the edges, like if a circle had an edge, like if I went vertically up, since it had a radius of 5, oi. If this had a radius of 5, if I was to do a little cross, what would this coordinate be? So if I wanted to go up the radius of 5, what would that coordinate be?
0? Would it be...
Well, it was the middle is 1, 2. It has a radius of 5. So what would it?
1, 7.
1, 7.
Yeah.
And if I was to go 5 down, what would this bottom part be? 1 what?
-3.
1 -3. Yep. And on here, what would this one be?
1, -4. Oh, sorry. 2, -4, 2.
Yep. Because that would be 4 to the left. And so this is 4 to the 5 to the left, I should say.
5, 2.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the very like making a cross of this circle. So the radius is 5. How did I get that? Because that says equals 25 there. So I've gone 5 up, 5 down, 5 to the left, 5 to the right. That's what I'm doing. So this becomes 5, 2. We see how I've done 5 there, 5 there. So now literally, I know that my axes, in between which 2 points should be the y-axis. Should it be there or should it be somewhere here? Where should the y-axis be? If I was to draw it, should it be somewhere there or somewhere here? Somewhere to be left, yeah. So there's the, yeah, because that's -4, that's 1. And where should the x-axis be? Should it be in between these 2 points or these 2 points? Below. So, because that's at 2, that's at -3. It's probably going to be about here. There we go. And now I've drawn the most perfectly accurate circle graph that you would ever have to do. Obviously, one of the things I would suggest you might want to do is you might want to get to... Oh, I see lots of frowny faces. Everything okay?
Why is it 5, 2 on the right edge?
Because that should say 6, 2.
Cool, alright.
That should say 6, 2. And so, similarly on here, this has a radius of 2. So I'm going to go, what's 2 up from -3? For this one on the right. It has a radius of 2. Yeah, thank you, -1. And if it's 2 down, what would it be? -5. So, it's 2 to the left. So if it's 2 to the left, what would this end be? Well, -4, move 2 to the left, what would it be? It wouldn't be -2. -6. That's right. Yeah, the other one will be at -2. Yep. So you can see with this one, here's a point. If you draw this one on the right, you'll see my 3 points, -6, -4, -2. Where's the y-axis? Where would it be?
On the right.
Yeah, it would actually be away from the circle. It would actually be somewhere over here.
It would be above
Yeah, and it would be. It would be above, because that is -1. So the x-axis be up here.
just out of this graph. I mean, still technically minus.
The last details that you would have to do on the graph is to find the x-intercepts and the y-intercepts. Obviously not for this one, because it doesn't have any x or y-intercepts, but the one on the left does. So, sorry, how would I... Yeah, how would you find the x and y-intercepts? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace, to find the x-intercepts, make y equals 0. So, -2 squared is 4. X minus 1 squared is equal to 25. X minus 1 is equal to plus or minus 5, because that's the square root of 25. x is equal to 1 plus or minus 5. So therefore the x-intercepts will be at, what's 1 take away 5? Negative 4, 0. Hang on. That can't be... something in my calculation here. 4... Oh, because, I forgot to minus 4 on both sides. It's 21. Knew that was too easy. Square root of 21. So 1 plus or minus the square root of 21. That's better. So it's the x-intercepts are going to be at 1 minus the square root of 21, 0. 1 plus the square root of 21, 0. So that will be here. 1 minus the square root of 21, 0. There'll be 1 plus the square root of 21, 0. And then y-intercepts, you make x equals 0. So 0 minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 25. 1 plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 25. Y minus 2 squared is equal to 24. Y minus 2 is equal to square root of 24. Y is equal to plus or minus, sorry, that should be plus or minus there. 2 plus or minus the square root of 24. So therefore the y-intercepts are at 0, 2 minus the square root of 24. And the other one is at 0, 2 plus the square root of 24. So again, you can pop that onto your graph and label accordingly. Then I've got this question here. So it's asking you to plot this particular graph. And unfortunately, I don't have any brackets. I don't have any sort of clear instructions of where I should put this circle. Because remembering, of course, the idea, you draw the circle first, otherwise you get my sad lemon that I drew the other day. Where's my sad lemon? There it is. There's my sad lemon from the other day. So we try to avoid sad lemons and try to get a circle first. Okay. So in order to do this, what we have to do is actually break up the question into 2 parts and do 2 lots. I'm just going to highlight this question because there's all the x's in it. And I'm going to highlight this part. There's all the y's in it. Now, in order to get something into brackets, we usually need to factorize, or alternatively, we have to complete the square. In this instance, I'm going to have to complete the square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to complete the square of the green part. So again, much like I would normally do, I add the middle term divided by 2 squared and then minus it. And then what I'm going to do on this side is do exactly the same thing. And then we'll get some different colors. Now, if you've been absent in any of the other previous lessons, don't fret. I shall also make sure that you're furnished with all of the notes as necessary. They will also be up online. So I'm just breaking this apart into 2 lots of completing the squares. And so this now becomes x plus 2 squared minus 2 squared. This becomes y plus 4 squared minus 4 squared. And that's just come from the fact that that becomes x squared plus 4x plus 4. And that can be factorized into x plus 2 all squared. Similarly over here. So now, my equation should now look like x plus 2 squared minus 4 plus y plus 4 squared minus 16 plus 16 equals 0, because that's where this plus 16 came from, this one up here. There it is. So, negative 16 plus 16 is going to be equal to what? 0. So, we'll need to move this 4 to the other side. So I'm just going to add 4. And hooray! We've got a very lovely circle equation. So could someone please tell me where it's where the center has moved, either left or right, and by how many? Put your hand up if you can tell me, or brave enough to tell me where it's moved left or right. Mr. Roston, what do you think?
It has moved left.
Yes?
2.
Exactly right. It's moved left by 2. And anyone would like to be brave enough to tell me if it should be have moved up or down, and by how many? Mr. Schwab, what do you think?
Down by 4.
It has moved down by 4. So, remember, we don't want sad lemons, so we'll move this up. Okay, so there's my circle, or at least my attempted circle. I was so happy to see people delighted that they could use their compasses again, so feel free to make a lovely compass circle. So the center of the circle. Now, what's the radius of this circle? And put a hand up if you remember how I could find Mr. Musgrove. It is 2, because the radius of the circle is equal to the square root of whatever the number is at the end. So this is 2. So remember, as I was doing before, if this is 2 up, what would be the coordinates at this topmost point of the circle?
0.
Okay, so it's negative 2, and I'm going from negative 4, and I'm going 2 up. What would it be? Negative 2? If I'm going 2 to the right, what would the coordinates be here?
0,
It is 0, negative 4. If I'm going 2 down, where would the coordinates be here? And coordinates here, if I go 2 to the left? Yep. Now the purpose of doing this, just to remind us, is so I know where I should be drawing my axes. So remember, we draw the circle first, then we draw the axes, otherwise we get the sad lemon. So, could anyone tell me at what part of this, if I want to draw a y-axis, where should I draw the y-axis? Mr. Spalding.
You should draw it at the right side.
Yeah, so because that's clearly a y-intercept, that will be the y-axis there. And at what part of the circle would the x-axis be?
Just 2 above the top.
2 above the top, yep. And there we go.